Welcome to everybody joining us on our Ekahau webinar series today. It's a very exciting webinar for us because we are going to be giving you a grand tour of all things Ekahau and especially focusing on our new AI Pro Online solution to make sure that you are familiar with some of the features we've released recently, some of the features that are coming very soon, and also Vlad is going to give you a glimpse into the roadmap for some of the things that are going to be coming later on this year as well. So really exciting about the content in the webinar today. But maybe Troy, you can do a quick round of introductions of who's here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, no shock or surprise to all of us. We have Matt Starling on the call who's going to lead us through this webinar. You have yours truly, Troy Martin, joining us as well. Stu Gumans, the man who travels to customers, making visits, helping people solve their Wi-Fi issues. He's on the road right now during this webinar, dedicated to being out in the field, interacting with our customer and the Wi-Fi community. And then the star of the show for today's webinar, we have Vlad Abramov joining us today, who will be guiding us through some of the newest and greatest features that we're introducing to the Ekahau portfolio, as well as revealing some things that have been there that a lot of people aren't necessarily aware of. So let's get on with the show.
Thanks, Troy. And Dale, I don't know what happened, but for some
Oh,
reason you didn't get added
sorry,
to
Dale.
Hey,
the
it's all
intros
good. I'm
today.
here in spirit.
Sorry about that, man. I don't know. I don't know how that happened because how could we miss someone so as important as you? So sorry about that, Dale. But we have been on the road recently at many different events across the globe. So recently, WRPC, Cisco Live in EMEA, HPE Tech Jam in Vienna, and the common theme that I found from being at these events was I was speaking to so many of you. Maybe there's people on the call that I saw recently in the last like, couple of weeks, but there were so many feature requests that you were asking me for that already exist in the product. So what we're going to be doing today is these are just a handful of some of the ones that we could think of and remember from the past few weeks that we're going to show you how to do in the product. But please, if you have any other features or things that you're not sure if where they are or how to use them or where exactly they might be in the product, please put that in the Q&A. And at the end of the webinar today, we're going to try and go through all of this list and anything else that goes into the Q&A to make sure you are all familiar with how you can do different features and applications in the Ekahau product. So if anything comes to mind during any of the demos today, please drop them in the Q&A and we're going to try and get through all of them, do lots of live demos and show you exactly how to do some of the features that you've been requesting. And I mentioned that we're going to be focusing heavily on our new online platform for Ekahau AI Pro, which is a fantastic new solution that you can use to design, analyze, and make a very nice Wi-Fi network. And Vlad is going to give a great demo of that in a very short period of time. But one of the things that I really appreciate and love about the AI Pro Online solution is it gives us kind of like two paths now to be able to design a Wi-Fi network. A lot of us on the call have probably designed Wi-Fi networks in the past, taking this traditional predictive modeling approach where we've imported a floor plan, we define our materials, set the attenuation values for walls, for objects, we place our simulated access points, we see the predictive coverage coming from our access points, and that's how we've been modeling our Wi-Fi networks for many, many, many years. However, we now have another option available to us, which we can now leverage the power of the measured data collected with the Psychic, and we can import a survey data or measured data into Ekahau AI Pro Online without having to draw any kind of walls, any types of materials or objects or attenuation. Ekahau AI Pro Online, it just uses the survey data, AI and machine learning to figure out how RF behaves and attenuates in your environment. So you can now simulate network upgrades going from old 2.4 and 5 only access points to APs that support 6 gigahertz, for example, or actually take that data and design for a completely different wireless technology like ultra wideband or cellular or Bluetooth, for example. Or if you just want to make some quick changes and tweaks like moving an AP here or AP there, it's really fast and easy to do in Ekahau AI Pro Online. So with that being said, and the introduction done for AI Pro Online, Vlad, I feel like it's over to you now to show everyone some of the new things that are coming.
Thank you, Matt, for building the expectations for the great demo. I don't have that many slides, to be honest. My things will be focused indeed on the demos. And in the first demo, I think we will try something new. So basically, as Troy mentioned, we have a lot of new features coming all the time and things. But in these demos, I want to try to actually show use case and also the things that have been there, but we get a lot of questions about. So I want to kind of bake in the new features and the features that are coming out very soon in the demo in the light of these use cases. So let's start with one case that comes up very often. And also sometimes people kind of ask a lot of questions about it. So let's say I have conducted a survey environment and I opened AI, our basically Ekahau Cloud, and I see this survey project in the list. The next thing, I want to analyze survey data. And one of the questions we get a lot, and some confusion also arises from this topic, is that we have two options, the view in AI Pro Online option and edit in AI Pro Online option. And these things are different indeed. In essence, you are not doing the same thing when you're viewing or editing. You're actually using different propagator from different use cases. So let me demystify what these things mean. So when I open my survey project as a view in AI Pro Online, what happens is that I get this view mode open, and indication of that is the blue, this label on top saying view mode. And this is the way you should analyze your raw survey data. So if you want to create reports based on survey, if you want to analyze what the measurement looks like, etc., please use the view mode, because here the propagator we are using to display the signal is the one which is similar to AI Pro and AI in your survey app. So if you would compare this project, for example, to the AI Pro, you will see that here, for example, this staircase, right? You see that there is a hole basically in between because nobody surveyed this area. And if you look back to the view mode, right, it's the same. So view mode is the way or most accurate representation of what did you survey. Okay, so what about the edit mode? Edit mode is something different indeed. It is something that you use to simulate changes based on this survey data. It's basically a planning environment using AI propagation where you can make different changes and basically simulate how to improve or change your network. And what
Hey,
this
Vlad.
option, yes, please.
Sorry, just before I know you're going to jump into the edit mode of AI Pro Online, but someone asked a great question in the chat, asking what do the different symbols mean on the left of each project in AI Pro Online. So where you're talking about view mode and edit mode and the difference there, maybe you can just quickly cover, those different symbols next to the name. What does that actually represent as well?
Oh yeah. Okay, let's cover also this basic, and let me maybe let's see if I can see all the project, and maybe I can remove the filter so we can see different types of projects. So we have 5 different icons basically, and let's start with the traditional ones. So historically, Ekahau has been dealing with 3 different project types. Design projects. These are indicated by this gray icon with D. So this is your AI Pro based basically design project. Then we have survey projects. Those are different because they have measured data, and it's indicated by the yellow icon with M. And third, traditional type is this mix of M and D. Basically, we call them hybrid projects. It means they have both simulated and measured data. And it has basically, as you see, a split icon kind of between this measured and design. Okay, now let's move to this new 2 types of icons. This one with the rainbow and the stars, or how do you want to put it, and the rainbow with D. So this is purely AI Pro Online project type. And the difference is that the D, similarly to the traditional D, is a design project. So this is just a design project created in AI Pro Online. And the color one with the star is the measured project, basically the AI environment. That's why the stars are usually used. So it's indicating of the AI. This is the measured AI-based project in AI Pro Online. So 5 different types. If you think, well, this is very confusing, you would be on the right track. So going forward, what we will try to do, we will try to merge and converge these project types, so our users wouldn't need to remember and play with those. So this is something we will do in the future, but this is the current state. I hope I answered part. Yeah.
One of the things we used to tell people is never cross the streams, right? Keep your design projects in one project and keep your measured data in another project. And as Matt covered at the introduction of this webinar, one of the great things about AI Pro Online is that you can take measured data, import it into AI Pro Online, and then you can use the attenuation that was learned during that survey and then place simulated access points on that. So in today's world with AI Pro Online, you can actually cross the streams and combine them. And so you see that with the projects that have both the M and the D, which saves you time from having to draw the walls.
Thank you, Troy. That's exactly the case. So, and thank you, Matt, for highlighting, because this is something that has been also asked a lot. So let's get back to the option types, opening your survey project. So now let's look at what the edit does. The edit actually creates a new project file. So for example, if you have this some measured project and you edit it in AI Pro Online, it will create a new project and it will be of this rainbow with the stars type. Basically, it will create a copy and use the AI environment for simulating changes. So how does the difference look? Let's now go, the view mode was like this, right? And now I have the same project open, exactly the same project open in the edit mode. And let's look at the difference. I will flip between the two projects so you can see the difference in the heat map. So like this. And let's maybe focus on one area in particular. We already looked at this staircase right here. And this is my view mode, and it corresponds to the raw measured data I had in the survey view, right? But now when I open in the edit mode, what the AI propagator does, it tries to kind of cover for the missing survey data and predict what happens in the areas where you did not have a survey, right? So, and that's advantage of AI Pro Online, that it can actually predict things even if you didn't measure there. Of course, there are limitations. The survey needs to be of a good quality and the environment needs to be specific. But what this also indicates is that this heat map is not your raw measurement data, but it's a simulation environment where you can design changes that you want to make to your network without drawing any walls, as Troy mentioned, right? So I just want to emphasize the difference. So view mode, used for analyzing your raw survey data and do reporting. Edit mode, used for simulating changes. So one of the cases for simulating changes we get a lot of questions about is the rip and replace scenario. So what if I need to simulate, for example, based on my survey data, replacement of some access points with some other access point type, right? So how do you do that? The easiest way is to select all your devices. For example, here on the left panel, I select all my devices on this floor, right? And I would need to just change the type. But wait a second, I actually have multiple floors, right? I have a lot of floors here in this project, and people were actually addressing a very valid issue. So how do I select all my APs on all the floors? Until recently, it was very difficult because you can't. For example, here I have APs on one floor, and when I try to move to the next floor, these APs on another floor get deselected. So not very comfortable. You need to go floor by floor, replacing your APs. So now we have a new solution for that. And very recently, we released this filter and sorting mechanism where you can actually see, for example, only the devices here. So I can see all my devices on all the floors. And now you can actually select them all. And rip and replace happens simply by choosing the model you want to use. For example, let's use Cisco. And let's maybe use some new model, maybe this one, 9178, right? And hey, here we go. So basically, we have now replaced all your existing access point models with the ones that you chose to be as your target, right? I don't need to mention, I guess, that I can move these APs to simulate the changes. I can add new access points, etc. So this is how easy it's to do this replacement.
Yeah, and Vlad, I noticed that these APs also got a few additional icons as well.
Oh yeah, you have good eyes. Thank you, Matt. So as you can see, AI Pro Online also supports other technologies than Wi-Fi. For example, this Cisco APs have also Bluetooth and ultra-wideband beacons integrated. And as part of the demo, I can actually show you that you can look at these different technologies by choosing the band. So the technology is embedded basically in the band selection. So here I can see my Wi-Fi bands, and I can also switch to the Bluetooth or the ultra-wideband, right? So I can switch to these technologies, and I have completely separate set of heat maps for them. So for example, for Bluetooth, I have number of devices, signal strength, dominant device, and something we will see in the third demo today is the positioning accuracy. I will not go there yet, but just as you can see, we have very powerful kind of capabilities to deal with multiple technologies. And one thing for people using this type of designs, so indeed, I showed you that you can choose the technology from the band. But in order to control the requirements, we have a dedicated set for each of the technologies. So you need to only select your area, and you can see this technology selector under area requirements, basically. And you can choose any technology, like, for example, for ultra-wideband, and create a custom requirement profile or use one of our default requirement for profiles. For example, we will see in the third demo that for Cisco Smart Spaces asset tracking, you can use a specific dedicated profile. So indeed, multi-technology is available in AI Pro Online if you didn't know that already. All right.
Vlad, before you move on, just as there's a few questions in the Q&A asking the same thing, is there any plans for us to support on the measured data design approach, users being able to add in drawing walls themselves?
So you mean adding walls to the measured designs,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yes, there are plans to do that. And that's part of the vector or development vector I mentioned, where we try to kind of a bit merge the different project types. So one of the things that we realized that, especially in reporting, measured projects without walls have very limited use of 3D, right? So we really want to fix that. So the vector we are taking is basically you will have a single project type where you can have walls, objects, everything that you have or able to have in AI Pro Online. And then you, as a user, can choose which propagator you use. Are you using the AI propagator, or are you using the measured propagator, or the basically the free space path loss with diffractions? So the choice will be yours, and that will give you more flexibility in reporting, in the kind of way you work, etc. So yes, there are plans to do that. Okay, hopefully I covered that question. And then now I want to show you also one basic thing. Maybe if you knew it already, that's good. But just because we have filtered our devices, I want to show you the bulk renaming function. This has been added not so long ago, so I just want to make sure everyone in the audience knows how to do it. So you select your all APs and wonder, hey, this AP0 whatever is not a good name. I don't want to have that in my report. I want to bulk rename my access points. So what I can do, I can go to the settings and actually use this edit button to have a naming convention for all of my selected access points, right? So let's put, for example, my AP underscore, and then I choose a criteria, for example, a running number, right? Okay. And in the preview, you already can see how my list will look. So AP001, 002, etc. Let's add one more criteria. So let's underscore and, for example, floor. And you can see how it will look. So it will list the floor after the running number. And with a click of a button, I have all my APs renamed according to this new convention. So very, very handy, very fast to use. If you haven't used before, please give it a try. All right.
Nice. And on the subject of bulk updating APs, Vlad, I think there's a few other things that we could do. That could you change the color of all of the access points to a specific color you like
Oh,
to
the
use?
color? No, we cannot do that. That's totally impossible.
Oh,
That's
sorry,
undoable.
man. I
We
shouldn't have
cannot.
asked you a question
Too
we
many
can't
No,
do.
no,
questions.
no. I don't think we shouldn't go that deep. Of course you can. So you just select your all APs, and we have added also the swatches because those were familiar for some of our AI Pro users. So you can use the swatches, or you can freely choose the color of your APs and have them grouped, etc., based on your, maybe blue is not the best one as the selection color, but for example, red may be something you want to have. Yes, you can change the color of APs for sure. You know
And that's a
what?
great
Yeah.
great thing to have to change the colors. You can mark if you're doing an upgrade, and you maybe one of the design requirements was to reuse as much of the existing cabling as possible to reduce cable costs. You could have APs that are reusing the existing cables, and then the APs that are moved or net new, you could give them a different color so that the installation team, the project management team can easily identify how many APs are net new installations. So a great way to differentiate changes to your design.
Absolutely. Thank you, Troy. And okay, but that's not all. I completely forgot about something that is not out yet, but we are planning to release very soon. And in this context, very soon means next week, actually, is let's go back to view mode, right? View mode, and a secret lies beyond. This is one request, I think, in the user voice also. So we will be showing also the survey paths. Survey paths will be part now of AI Pro Online, and you can see them as part, for example, here as part of my floor content. So surveys, right? You can see the list of the surveys. You can see for each survey how much of an area it covered. So, and you can also select them, and you can analyze, of course, if there are some notes attached, the survey type, how long was the path, how long did it take to do this survey, so based on the timestamps, area covered, and of course, who was the author and the device with which it was done. An interesting notion here, if you didn't see this already, often we think that, hey, did we have enough survey for this project, right? Was there enough data? And currently, you don't see this metric here, but what you can do very easily, you can go to the preview of the project. So I here have it open. So on the landing page, open the preview of this project, and you will actually see a nice metric which tells you the survey coverage. And it actually displays you how much of the survey covers your manually defined requirement area. And you see clear indication that, for example, if it's less than 70%, then probably you need to cover some more area with the survey. So this is very handy to check whether your survey kind of information is enough to cover your requirement area. So just one small addition there. So, okay, so survey paths are coming. You will have also a report component for them, etc. One additional thing I want to show relates to the notes. So we had recently released a notes concept, and for a new and also existing AI Pro Online users, I think it would be good to just recap what's the difference between the AI Pro Classic notes and AI Pro Online notes. And I think we've made a pretty good advancement there. So quite familiarly, you have the note tool, right? And you can add a note like a marker on the map. Nothing fancy there. You can write your note. Let's put like my note, etc. Text. I can add some image. Maybe let's see. I have some instruction. Let me use some maybe from the notes some instructions here. Okay, like this. So have pictures added, etc. So, okay, nothing new here, very familiar interface, etc. So I added my notes. But what's different? What makes AI Pro notes different? Here we have a notes library. So basically it means that all the notes you add are linked to the components on the map. So they are not inherently part of the component, but they're just linkages. And this gives you a lot of flexibility to do different types of things. For example, let's say you have some instructions, right? Installation instructions, and you want to attach them to all of the access points. And instead of selecting each access points, adding a node there, etc., what you can do, you can just select the access points from the left panel or from the canvas, and you can use this view nodes and link existing nodes function, which allows you to select whatever nodes you want to add to those selected items. So, for example, I want to add this node called installation instruction 1 to all of my selected APs here. And the only thing I need to do is to select that node and click on the link function. So now you see it appeared here as part of my selection. So even if I close this nodes tab and deselect of all of my APs and, for example, select just one of them, right? And then click on view nodes, I see this node is linked to this AP, right? I can obviously unlink it or delete it completely from the library, but this gives me a lot of flexibility to add and also change the nodes. So let's assume I need to rename the node and change the instructions, right? And instead of going to each access point and changing it, the node, etc., what I can do, I just simply go to my nodes here, select the one I want to change, edit it, and for example, it's now instruction 2, and maybe I can change a picture. But now when I change the node, what happens is that if I go to my access point to which this node was linked and open it, you will see the change appearing here. So I can multi-edit one node linked to all the objects. So it's very, very flexible. And you can attach nodes to areas, to access points, to of course, to this map markers and also to your surveys. All right. So very powerful nodes concept. And of course, it would be nothing without the mentioning the reporting, right? For those of you who have been using the custom reporting, maybe you can ask in the chat if you have some specific questions, but just briefly for maybe new users or people who haven't tried AI Pro Online, we have the custom reporting based on the components. So you have different components, like, for example, cover page, notes list. As I was showing notes, this will be displaying your notes in the report. And you can arrange them the way you want, add as many components as you like. And you can also configure these components. For example, note list has a configuration for the do you want to include notes related to specific item types like devices? Do you want to have only text or images? Or do you want to arrange them by the note or by the items they are linked to? So a lot of options, and each component has a different set of configurations. So, and report generation is really fast. You can try it out yourself if you haven't done so. I think Matt asked me to actually show you one thing. So let's maybe save the changes to this report as a template. So you can actually change or save your templates, and you can also share those templates to your peers. For example, I can share these templates to my colleagues, etc., and they will have basically capability to use the same template within your organization. So which makes life a bit easier than recreating or sending emails, etc. So I don't know, Matt, are there any questions or things I should clarify on the reporting side?
Nothing specific around the reporting. There's a lot of great questions coming into the chat and the Q&A, but I think we'll save some of those for a little bit later, as I know you've got a few more demos you wanna get through.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think we are getting pretty close to the end of first demo. So this was basically just recapping the things that we just seen. I want to show you just on the one slide what we saw. So just once more, use view mode to analyze your survey. Use edit mode to plan and design changes to your network, right? Survey paths, you saw them. They are coming next week. Notes and attachments, please utilize them. You can import your existing projects, and those notes will be important. And I forgot one thing. Oh, God, how sloppy of me. Speed test notes. Oh, my God. Sorry about that, guys. Speed test notes are part of AI Pro Online. So if you do speed test with your survey applications, AI Pro Online will show them to you as a separate measurements. So you can see the latest captures with the speed test, and you can evaluate how well the network actually performed. So download speed, upload speed, ping, etc. I completely missed it. And you guys didn't remind me. How rude of you. Okay, sorry about that. And usability enhancements, you saw the search and filtering as well as bulk renaming, and custom reporting will have new components like the new notes list, and soon we will have also speed test measurement component in the reporting. Okay, mindful of time, I will just rush forward if Matt or Troy, you don't have any, you don't want to stop me already. I will just push on, right?
Yeah, keep going, Vlad.
All right. So demo 2. So now we mostly focused on the measured projects and kind of view mode, looking at your survey, and the edit mode for basically planning changes to your network based on measured data with AI Propagator. And now let's move to another world. There are two flows that Matt showed you. So the measured, and now we are talking about the traditional floor map based design. And I want to highlight and basically walk you through some of the basics, and also bake in some of the new stuff we have been adding, especially looking in the 3D world. All right, so let's jump to it. I have prepared 2 similar projects in development environment and in our production environment. And why is that? I want you to show a new wall detection we will be adding very soon to our product. And let's start with our production environment. So the current thing you can have access already today. So I have a floor map, I have set scale, and why I start from this point is because when I click finish, the wall detection will trigger automatically based on this image. So let's hit finish, and let's see what happens. Okay, finishing floors, etc., etc. So I have only one floor. Maybe I can switch to signal strength here.
One thing to call out here is a difference with AI Pro Online is that an area is automatically created. This is different than what you may have experienced in desktop, where there's no area and you have to draw one. But that default area is the full area of the floor plan. So if you want to shrink that to wrap around your building, that's something that you may want to look at.
Yeah, also,
exactly.
Vlad, you didn't mention what type of floor plan is this? Is this a CAD file? Is this a PDF? Is it a PNG? Or
This is just PNG, I think.
Okay.
I think this is PNG. So this is your bitmap file. So good point. Our wall detection works both on CADs, of course, but also on the bitmap images like PNGs or JPEGs, etc. So there are no vectors at all. This is just blurry mass of pixels, basically. And our wall detection makes sense of them. And Troy, thank you for filling in, because I wanted to show that, hey, look, the current wall detection is fast, but it was actually calculating. It was taking some time. It was not ready immediately, right? So it took some time to prepare it. But I can place walls, and it looks decent, right? Maybe I can clean some things up. So let's show the walls. For example, I have some walls detected on my scale, an elevator shaft, some dry walls here and there. So maybe this is not a good representation. I can delete them. But otherwise, I have my auto walls. I have windows. I have inner walls and doors detected. So pretty good detection done by already current wall detection version. But we have something better coming out. So let's take the same case and take the same project in the development environment. I have the same scales and map, etc., etc. Let's click finish and see what happens. So yes, let's finish. We have only one floor. Look at wall, and it's already done. So I didn't need to wait a second. So Troy didn't need to feel the gap between wall detection calculating. It was done immediately. So it's super fast. It's like 10, based on our calculations, it's 10 times faster. And it also detects now elevators. It's also much more accurate. So it detects more windows, more doors, etc. And what we are especially proud of is that security is one of the very important things currently, especially in the light of AI and the revolution that is happening. So we can proudly say that we are not using any of our customer project data to train our AI models. So we are using and mapping our own data. So we are not touching customer projects, etc. They are sacred to us. So just want to highlight that. So with that said, this is something that we'll be adding very soon. So faster, more accurate elevators and stairs detected, super wall detection coming out your way. All right. Okay, let's move on. So I started creating this project, right, and showed you the wall detection. Now the next thing, just to speed things up, I add my requirement areas, and I use automatic area detection to place the areas. Here we go. And as someone in user voice was asking, okay, I draw my area, but I cannot add more vertices here. So I need to redraw it if I did a mistake. Not anymore. So you can add new vertices to your area and refine it if it was kind of done improperly. So that's fixed. Thank you, user voice. Another thing you might notice that we have added this angle snapping and toggle, and also the snapping, angle drawing and snapping toggles. So if you have them on, for example, everything snaps to the vertices. And also, for example, if you have angle drawing on, you can draw straight walls without a problem, or you can turn it off if you don't like it. All right. So a lot of usability improvements. And now I have my requirement area. Now it's time to maybe place some access points. And let's use our Cisco Wire access point we have been using before. And my assisted planner already proposes some location. So I'll happy to place them. I have logged out. Thank you, Ekahau, for logging me out. So this is just a demonstration that this is not some, pre-recorded demo and my voice is real. Or maybe I'm a very good faker, so I could fake this, logging off. Anyway, so I placed my access point here and my design is ready. But as I mentioned, I really want to show you the kind of some of the things that maybe some people don't know. So one of the differences in AI Pro Online compared to the classical one is that how we treat the different materials and walls. For example, I have my wall material library and also attenuation object library. And this is indeed just a template for usage on my design. So what this means is that, of course, I can create more materials to my library. But what if I need to change just one aspect of my drywall? Let's say I want to change only one segment like this. I don't want it to be 2.5 meters high. I just want it to be 1 meter high. So do I need to create a new material in the material library? No, of course not. It will just bloat it so that I have thousands of materials. It's very unusable. Only thing I need to do is change a parameter of this segment, right? And it will actually become a new group here in my material list on the applied materials. So here I have all my segments with 2.5 meter high. And now when I change one segment, it's also still drywall with the same 3 dB attenuation, but now it's only 1 meter. And you can inspect it easily in 3D, so you can see that, hey, it's like that. Okay, now I want to change it back. So, hey, how do I do it? Do I change the parameter? Maybe. Or I can just align them all. So I want all my drywalls to behave the same. So I select them all and just revert them back to the material template I want it to be. Here we go, and it's back to that. So just to recap, your material library so affects your templates. And the things on the left panel are the ones that you have drawn, and you can change them separately, which gives you more flexibility and kind of a handiness in doing the predictive kind of this modeling. All right. With that said, we already saw some of the 3D world, but hey, we want to create some more complex designs than that, right? So let's add some more floors. Let's add maybe 2 floors still to this building. And where do I have it? Maybe I have the floor maps. Floor. This one. Let's add a second floor of the same building, grayscale. Next, I will just quickly run. Of course, I want to sit it on above the floor 1 and making sure it's the same scale. So let's put it like 10. And then final step is just to check the alignment. So we know that the floors sit one on top of the other. You can use the automatic alignment if you like, but you can see from the start they are pretty well aligned already. Finish it up and add a final floor, the 3rd floor. So let's do the same steps one final time. Grayscale, let's move next. Yes. And then let's put the scale correctly, and then finally align the things. Okay, so after the step, we should have 3 floors sitting above each other. So alignment is fine, everything looks finished. So let's finish it up. And what I want to take a look at is my 3D view. Well, this doesn't look very representative, right? I don't want to send this image to my customer, right? Doesn't look very nice. So let's fix some things about this, like cake that is not looking like a real building. Let's maybe remove some white space and also ensure my floors are of proper height. So I want to fix all my floor heights at 3 meters. You can select each floor and just change the property to 3 meters. So it's maybe a more better space to breathe in this office building. And now I want to do something to actually remove the kind of white spaces from my floors. So how do I do that? And that has been asked a lot in our customers have been asking a lot. So now what I need to do is utilize the surfaces tool. So the surfaces you can find on the wall element and then choose elevated surface. What this thing is about is that I want to define an area which I want to keep in my design. So let me start by just drawing this this surface around the area I want to keep on this floor, right? And this is something like this, right? So quickly drawing it. And by the way, you can edit also this point, so you don't need to redraw your surfaces. This was also one of the requests we heard. Okay, so I've drawn my surface here, and this is the area I want to keep. And I want to hide everything else. I don't care about this white space, this whatever scale thing, whatnot. How do I do it? Go to Environment and select the base floor surface. The base floor surface is the original image you imported. And what you want to do is turn it into floor opening. So that means that Propagator and also the 3D view will ignore everything else outside of that kind of base surface. So it will only show the surface that I drew. So let's do quickly the same thing for my floor 3. So choose the surface. Let's quickly draw the area here and turn the rest into a floor opening. So here to environment, base floor, to floor opening, and we are ready. And it's time to maybe check our building now. So let's go to 3D. Hey, it looks much nicer. And you see the second floor, this space has become actually a ceiling for the first floor. So this is how easily and quickly you can play with the surfaces. And last thing I maybe want to show, I know I'm mindful of time. So last thing I want to show is that you can also use the floor openings. So you can draw holes as elevator shafts, for example, right, on each of the floors. So we get this nice feeling of kind of space and elevator shaft feeling if you want to fall down. So You can see how it works, right? So you have your elevator shaft here. And also, if you look all the floors, you can see the elevator shaft going down. Okay, so surfaces, very powerful tool. You can also define the height, the thickness, etc. The last thing I want to mention to finish the demo is one of the requests we have been getting, and it's a very, very valid request we're already working on. It's called the ramps and stairs. So imagine a stadium or auditorium, and with current surfaces, you need to draw each kind of seat row at a time. You need to draw one by one, which is quite time consuming. So what are we now introducing in features that are coming out next is basically this auto stairs and ramps functionality. And you can see this animation that I captured from the development environment. So you can draw the surfaces, which you can already do now, but you can define that those surfaces are actually stairs. And we will draw the stairs automatically with basically the properties you can alter yourself, or you can set up profiles to basically define how you want the stairs to be drawn. And same applies to the ramps.
So if you can imagine, I can see Larry on the call who was on the webinar last time presenting. He looks after a university that has a stadium. If you just imagine like how long it would take for you to model out currently drawing every single row of a stadium or a theater and then doing the inclining for the stairs or the seats and stuff, it can take a really long time. So the fact now that you can just draw this for one whole tier and set the level of increment for the height going up is going to be a huge time saver for anyone that has to do real complex modeling for theaters, for stadiums, auditoriums, you name it. So yeah, this is going to be a huge time saver. And then something that we haven't had before that's coming soon, Vlad, that I know you just glossed over there, is the fact that we will have like a ramp. So at the moment it was just doing kind of like straight like stairs kind of inclines, but now you can actually have like a flat surface incline as well. So if you've got a slope or a ramp or anything like that.
Exactly, huge time saver. Mindful of time, Matt, do we have a time for third demo, or should I just jump to the what's coming next in the
Let's
pipe?
let's do the demo. And guys and girls, if you're on the webinar and you have some time to stick around after, I will stay on. I'm sure Troy will as well, and we'll try and go through all of your well, I say all, there's a lot of questions in the Q&A, but we will try and get through as many of your questions in the Q&A. So if you have some time to stick around after, we will stay on for a bit longer and do some live demo. So Vlad, you just crack on, mate. You do the next demo and then what's coming soon, and then we will carry on with the
All
rest.
right, all right, all right. Let's do that. Okay. So the next demo is about a particular feature called positioning accuracy. We have released this, and I think we have demoed this during Cisco Live in Amsterdam a couple of weeks ago. So what this feature allows you to do is basically to plan for positioning accuracy using ultra wideband or BLE technology. So I will just use our current project I was working on now. And I want to evaluate whether this my beautiful design with 4 access points suits the kind of the need. First of all, of course, I need to maybe change some access points to something more suitable than the generic one. So let me just do that very quickly. So let's put Cisco access points in place and like this. So we need something with the ultra wideband and Bluetooth beacon to actually plan for indoor positioning, and assuming, of course, integrated beacons within access points. So what we have introduced is a new heat map and properties to analyze whether this design is suitable for indoor positioning and asset tracking. How do we approach this? First of all, let's go to the appropriate technology. Let's select the ultra wideband technology, and let's select a heat map called positioning accuracy. And what this heat map tells you, basically, it tells you how well your asset moving in this environment will be tracked. How accurate is the position? And to configure this properly, you need to know 2 settings at least. So from the project's details, we have 2 new properties. One is called ultra wideband positioning system accuracy, and another is similar but for BLE. What these parameters tell is what is the inherent accuracy of the system installed. So for example, for Cisco, it is usually recommended that it's 0.5 meters. So we are using that as default as well here. So that is the best or most probable inherent accuracy you have with the system. And then another setting lies within the area settings. So this is my requirement. So how accurate I want my tracking to be or positioning to be. So I select an area and I already have ultra-wideband technology selected. And I can use, for example, a custom profile. And here I can define what is my positioning accuracy criteria. And here I have 1 meter. So my asset moving within my environment should be tracked within 1 meter accuracy. And it's easy to interpret. Green, I can do it. Gray, I cannot do it. So my design is very bad in order to do this positioning accuracy, right? So I cannot track my assets very well. So key thing is geometry of how your access points are positioned. So when you put your access points on the periphery, ensuring the geometry is kind of not in a straight line at least, it will at least a starting point to start getting some improvements. But just the sheer number of access points needed for positioning and asset tracking is much higher usually. So you really need to add more access points to your design in order to fulfill your criteria for this purpose. So I'm maybe not doing a very good job with this, but you see the changes happening. So now my design here is somewhat more suitable for asset tracking. So same applies for BLEs. You can exactly the same way analyze the BLE. The criteria are slightly different. So 2 meter accuracy as inherent, and you can set your own criteria for BLE as you go. And maybe that is one thing I wanted to show in the last demo. So if you're dealing with these cases, you now have capability to analyze whether your design is suitable for the purpose. All right. I think I will end the demo here and jump back to the slides just to recap the features that are already in the pipeline next. So besides that, those things that I showed you, we're already working on a couple of more things. So we will be shutting down our private 5G separate application. I want to inform everyone, I know it's, at least in this audience, we have been using private 5G. We will be migrating all the users to AI Pro Online because it has richer capability, and we will migrating all your projects to the better tool, basically. Also, we will be introducing a capability to deal with other networks, so not bringing only your access points, but also everything the Sidekick has detected, and you can filter and sort those things in AI Pro Online. Custom reporting will get enhancements with more configuration options, new components, and also you can preview the report before generating it. For survey analysis, we are working on adding the spectrum and waterfall graphs, as well as adding a brand new thing which will indicate to you what is the quality of your survey, because often we see that the survey maybe doesn't match all the criteria we're teaching, and also it produces maybe suboptimal data for kind of planning changes based on your measured data. So things, for example, has your survey covered your requirement area? Do we notice survey paths that go through walls? Do we notice massive speed differences in the survey? For example, 1 meter per second, and suddenly somebody is moving 100 meters per second. Maybe something's wrong there. Maybe we should highlight that in the data. We can also detect whether, for example, RRM has made changes during the survey, changed the channels of the X powers, or if, for example, I think those are the main things. Then offline capability, massive thing. So we call the product AI Pro Online, right? But the real and many use cases rely on working also offline. So that is coming also. So ability to work offline and also save your work locally as project files. and
Yeah, Vlad,
we will be. Yeah,
maybe we can just like maybe we just pause on this point for a second because
yeah,
this is probably the most asked thing in the chat and the Q&A. Like, what is the difference between the current desktop application, the online one, the workflow from going from offline to online currently, and then you just hinted there that the new online version of the platform is going to be able to be offline. So this is what people really want to know. So maybe we can just discuss this in a little bit more detail because
yes.
I know that this is a topic that I've marked as we're going to answer live, and a lot of people have asked this in the chat.
Yes, plainly speaking, in couple of words, AI Pro, what we call AI Pro Line currently, is the future platform for our planning and validation products. So we will be transitioning gradually as we add these features, parity features, etc. It will become the new AI Pro. So plain and simple.
So
Of
what
course,
that means is
gradually with
basically
time.
people.
Yep.
Yeah, so at the moment, yes, there's some features that are not that you can do in the desktop that are not available in line on the current online version. We are going to get the online version to parity. Yeah, into parity with what the current desktop one can do, and we will always provide you, our customers, with an online and offline version of software because some of you work in some industries where you cannot leverage like the cloud functionality and features like that. So we will always give you an online and offline option. And what that will be is this demo that you've seen from Vlad today with the user interface and where the different features and functionality is. This is going to be the platform that you use in the future, and you're going to be able to save your project files offline. You'll be able to easily, seamlessly go between your survey app, the online or offline version of this AI Pro that you've seen in action today.
Exactly. Thank you for summarizing. Uh, yeah, I think that's one big chunk of work we are currently doing. All right. With that said, I think I run out of things, and I apologize. I stole everybody's or Matt and Troy your time for for the rest of the content. So I'll just stop sharing.
No,
Thank you.
All good, Vlad.
no, all good. There was lots of great things in your demos that people wanted to see and cover. So I know we're over and I can still see that the majority of you are still on the session. So if you have time to stick around for a little while longer, we will stay on the webinar with you and I'm gonna try and answer as much in the Q&A, but also there's a few other things we wanted to cover. But Troy, maybe you can just mention, you can just cover this quickly around the Slack and the user voice.
Yeah, so if you want to provide feedback for features that you're looking to see introduced in the Ekahau product of tools, hardware, and software, head over to the user voice channel, submit that feedback, or upvote existing feature requests. The higher they're prioritized, the greater the dev team starts looking at those features. And just an example of a couple things that we've recently added is the ability to change the heights of different rooms on the same floor, right? So convention centers or other different locations, you could have different sized rooms with different elevations. We can now change that and model that accurately. And as Vlad pointed out earlier, you can add points to areas that you've drawn if you need to reshape or resize those areas. So instead of having to redraw the entire area, you just add an additional point and you can stretch and change the shape of that area. So a super awesome feature that saves a lot of time to existing projects and drawings.
Yeah, we really value your feedback and you have the chance to shape the future of the Ekahau products. The features that you request, either you tell it us in Slack or you put it into the user voice. User voice is a bit more structured for us because it's in there and it's easy for the dev team to go in and see what you're requesting, and then we try and implement as many of those as we can into the product. So we love hearing from you, our real users, the things that's going to make your day-to-day easier using the product. So please sign up for user voice, and if you have any feature requests, submit it in there. I promise you, all of the features, they get reviewed, they get looked at, and when we can, we implement them to the product. Um, so that being said, I want to now just focus on showing you some of the things that we have been asked recently. Can the product do, or can it, or a requested feature that is already available in the product. So one that came up a lot for me actually recently was being I got asked if you can change the external antenna that is assigned to an access point. So what I mean by that, so if you're designing for, let's just say like a warehouse or a auditorium or a stadium where you need to use an access point with an external antenna, like you can see here, when you go to, let's just pick a an access point like I don't know, like the Cisco 9130. For example, here you can see these are antennas like defaultly assigned to the Cisco access point and antenna. But if I just pick one of these, and if I then go down to the additional properties, when I scroll down, I can now actually come here and I can change the antenna model to be any type of external antenna that we support. So if you wanted to use Axeltex instead of Cisco or Ventev or a different type of antenna, you can come into here and assign that antenna to the access point that supports the external antennas. So you're not just stuck with the first antenna that you see in the list. You can still customize and change that in the drop down in the additional properties. So that's for the example there for Cisco, and the one that you can see over here. This is a missed AP with an Axeltex antenna. But what you can do if you want, you can change this out to be any other type of Axeltex antenna. And also, if you want to visualize the propagation pattern in 3D and make sure this is the right type of antenna choice that you want to use for your modeling, you can see that here and ensure you've got the right one before you then assign it to your access point and then place it on the map. So that was one of the questions that came up quite a lot recently. Oh, and then someone else said that when they're looking at the spectrum view in the classic desktop application, it would be really nice to be able to like zoom in and see the spectrum in a bit more detail. And I've just turned my Psychic on and I discovered something for the first time. So I'm in my garden office at home and I can notice this. I'm on 5 gigahertz. There is a interferer over here around channel 157. So what you can see here, this is this is some Wi-Fi access points in the spectrum that you can see, and you can see that the spectrum here on the channel, like you can see the shape. But over here, because the Psychic 2 has a integrated spectrum analyzer, we also detect anything that's operating on the wireless frequency band. So if I click on this option up here, you can see there's a little zoom icon. I can actually click on this and then it zooms in on that channel. And if I click again, it gets very zoomed in now, and I can see the outline of that spectral mask of that device. So, does anyone want to guess maybe what the type of device that is that's causing this signal on 5 gigahertz? LED light controller, wireless camera, speaker, door lock. Mac has hidden the camera in Matt's place. That could be very true, Larry. He does like to keep an eye on me, and it does look like a wireless video camera to me. So yeah, you know what? I'm going to be honest. I have a good idea of what I think this is, but I'm not 100% sure. So I need to do a bit of spectrum hunting to figure it out. Definitely, but I do have some outdoor wireless cameras that are powered by solar. So I've got a strong inclination that that could be what it is, but. Who knows? But yeah, whatever it is, it's loud for sure, Alex. Yeah, minus 30 dB, so it's certainly somewhere in my studio or just in and around anyway. So yeah, if you wanted to be able to like see stuff in on the spectrum and zoom in, like for example here on 6 gigahertz, you want to see what's going on those individual channels. You can get really nice and granular and zoomed in. You can change the time sweep here from anything from 5 seconds down to or up to like 20 minutes. So if you want to see maybe what's been going on in a bit of a slower period of time, you totally have that option as well. So those are a couple of features that I wanted to show. Oh, one last one before I pass it back over to Troy is a lot of you come up to me recently and said that you would really love to be able to share your project, whether it be a design, a survey with your stakeholder or customer that doesn't have an Ekahau license. And that feature has actually been available for a really long time. So how you can do that is if you just come back to your cloud, what you can see here is that I can find any project, whether it be a design or a survey. I can click on where it says shared with, and then what I can do is I can then just add the email of whoever at whatever .com. And when I add this now, this user will get a email and they will get like a password that they can use, and then they will be able to view that project in their browser and interact with the project file. So click on individual access points, change the heat map visualization, see all of the detailed information that you can see in your browser, but just not edit anything without having an Ekahau license. So you can share your designs, your validations, your troubleshooting surveys, anything you want with anybody that doesn't have an Ekahau license, and they can view it in their browser. So that is available now and has been available for a long time. But that question or that feature request comes up very often. So Troy, let me stop sharing so you can share a couple of these other features, and then we'll dive into the Q&A.
Right. So here, what you're looking at is my share from my iPad. And one of the questions that came up earlier was how do we access speed tests from the survey app? So I just have it up on this view here. So when you click on the View tab across the top, you'll see a list of buttons or options you can click on the right-hand side. If I wanted to get a list of my access points, I could expand that out by clicking on the black dot at the top. But if I wanted to run a speed test, it's actually that bottom black button. So if I click on that, it'll then ask me to choose a location on the floor that I want to run a speed test from. So I'd click that black bottom. It would initiate a speed test. Once that speed test finishes, I want to save that note, and I could click on that map note and get my speed test results. Right. So there's a little icon down here where you can initiate speed tests from directly within the app. But the other thing that I wanted to show you guys, and let's get rid of the access point list, is if I click on the survey tab across the top, that allows me to visualize my survey paths that have been performed so I can see where on the floor they've walked. My particular iPad is the iPad Pro, right, which has the built-in LiDAR camera and also the GPS chip. So it is the cellular version. Because of that, I see all 5 survey methods listed across the top. So I could perform an autopilot survey, continuous stop and go, a GPS, all those different methods. If you do not have the cellular version of your iPad, you won't see GPS listed as an option across the top, right? Now, in this particular project, multiple people were collaborating at the same time to survey this, right? So one technician worked on the left-hand side, another technician on the right-hand side, and that's the reason that there's 2 different colors for the survey paths, right? So the black and the yellow indicating which person did which. And I can zoom in on this, right, and identify and just review the walking paths that they took, just to validate, did they survey like they were a ghost, walking through walls, jumping through windows, crossing the floor, or did they follow a proper path, walking through the doors, down the hallways? How accurate did they click, right? So just by clicking on survey there, we can visualize the survey paths. And then just to wrap up, if you click on the inspection button, I can then drill in and click on these walking paths, and I can look at the access points that were heard from that given spot on the floor, and I can see the spectrum that I recorded as part of my project while performing the survey. And in the lower right-hand corner, I can then move throughout my walking path, right, and play it back almost like a movie to analyze any spectrum anomalies, or see if there was that video camera that was by Matt's garden office, if that was stronger in one particular side of the building or another. So that's how you can visualize your survey walking paths within the survey app that you can run on your iOS device.
This is my favorite kind of movie, Troy. I could watch this all day.
There you go. All right, so I'll stop sharing now.
Okay, let's try and like crunch through as many of these questions in the Q&A as possible. Vlad, one I'm going to throw to you straight away from Anders. He's looking to be able to dynamically set the channel bandwidth 2040-80 when designing on the AI Pro online version, and then being able to export that design to the Catalyst Center with walls from the cloud, the same way that you can do with the desktop version. So maybe there's two parts to that question. First of all, the or maybe if you can just address how does AI Pro Online currently do channel planning? It's automatic, right? When you place APs and you add multiple access points, it recalculates and changes the channel for you. So the channel planning algorithm functionality is kind of different to what it is in the desktop. Whereas when you place in the desktop one currently, it just places all on the same channel until you run a channel plan. But maybe you can just talk about, is there going to be a more granular way that users are going to be able to control the bandwidth options for the channels in AI Pro Online?
Yes, so currently, as you said, basically we have you can enable for each access point automatic channel planning or on and off, and that means that they will be recalculated or kept steady as you do your planning, or you can of course run the AI auto planner, which will recalculate the channels based on its kind of abilities. So that's the setup we here. We will plan as the last point of the things I was showing that are features that are coming is this more advanced settings for AI auto planner, and also those basically include abilities to control the channels that are used and also the bandwidth that is used for the plans.
Okay, thank you, Vlad. And then will AI Pro Online integrate into Catalyst Center?
Yes, eventually. So basically, currently we have a kind of plans to do at least the same integrations. So we are already kind of working on these integrations as we speak. Basically, currently what we are enabling in AI Pro Online is the pulling data from, for example, Cisco Meraki or Aruba Central, right? So it's like the pull integration, and we will be also supporting the other way around, so the pushing integration to different controllers of different vendors. Of course, primarily this will be Cisco Meraki, Aruba, Ruckus, etc. So
Okay, thank you, Vlad. Dale, if you want to come back, we can start tackling some of these questions in the Q&A. I marked one to answer live just whilst you're returning back to us, Dale and Troy. You'll identify some to go through. Gavin, I don't know if you're still here or not, but you asked about why doesn't Ekahau Optimizer support the use of 15913 channel plan scheme for 2.4 gigahertz, since most of the world can use those additional channels. The reason why Optimizer defaults to stick into 1, 6, and 11 is because even if you're in Europe where you get the ability to have access to the additional spectrum in 2.4 gigahertz, and you could potentially do a 15913 channel plan, in most scenarios, your 2.4 networks are going to be surrounded by other 2.4 networks that are probably going to be operating on 1, 6, and 11. So if we was then to recommend you to move to a 15913 channel plan and your neighbors are on 1, 6, and 11, that's going to, instead of introducing co-channel interference, it will introduce something called adjacent channel interference, which is a even worse hit on the performance than co-channel interference. So it's better to stick to 1, 6, and 11 when you're surrounded by other 2.4 networks and have co-channel interference instead of adjacent channel interference. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're in a completely isolated environment where there's no other 2.4 networks around you and you can do a 15913 channel plan, by all means go ahead. But from our data, what we see is most networks hear other 2.4 networks that do use 1611. So that's why we stick with that for Optimizer.
In addition to that, when you start looking at other non-Wi-Fi technologies like BLE, BLE has advertising channels and uses specific channels that were selected to fit in between the gaps of Wi-Fi based on a 1, 6, and 11 channel plan. So you get ideal coexistence by also following 1, 6, and 11 globally with other non-Wi-Fi technologies.
Awesome. Thanks, Troy. All right, Dale, hit us with a few. I can see you've got marked to answer.
Yeah, so I apologize if this might have been addressed. I've been in the Q&A. There's been a lot of questions asked, so I've missed some of what's been covered. But this question kind of comes up quite a bit. And I know, Troy, you just mentioned BLE, for example. We have multi-tech planning capability in the online version. But what type of situation would it be more appropriate to use the desktop app versus AI Pro Online and vice versa? And then it asks further, is it just user preference at this point? Can you address some of that if you haven't
Yeah, so
already?
for me, the biggest differentiator would be if I was working on a project that had private or very sensitive floor plans, right? Where that customer or the nature of it, I wasn't able to upload the project to the cloud or share anything via cloud-based technology. So in that situation, I would want to rely primarily on the desktop, on the private project working there. But as Vlad mentioned, the vision for AI Pro Online is eventually we'll be releasing a desktop version of AI Pro Online. And in that scenario, I would use the desktop version of AI Pro Online to achieve the same goal. But for me, that would be the primary differentiator today when choosing desktop versus AI Pro Online.
Thanks, Troy. Another question has been upvoted. I know there's not the ability today, and we did talk about user voice, so maybe this is the platform to submit anything that's being requested. But a question that was upvoted says, can we create a legend with what the colors mean for the installation team or others?
So yeah, I saw that question. When you say create a legend, I'm not sure I understand. Like, do you mean like create like a custom thing in a report to say that if the AP is red, then it should be installed against the ceiling. If it's blue, it should be I don't know,
Yeah,
like
it didn't really get into context there. I'd imagine, I mean, but the legend does correspond with what you see on the heat map.
uh,
So,
I
if
can
it,
see that David's put in the chat. That's what it means. Okay. So can we, yeah, so basically that would be like a specific, so I have that already in my in my in my custom template report that I have in the desktop version. I have a legend, like I have a legend in there exactly for that. So I cut my AP specifically if it's going to be an outdoor AP, an indoor AP, omnidirectional AP, or indoor AP that supports external antennas. And then if it's going to have any kind of like different type of mounting solutions, then I create a table that has that kind of legend in there. So you can do that currently for your desktop one. Vlad, I'm not sure if that's something that we can create in the online custom reporting yet. You can add your own text field where you could assign that to a template where you just call it out in there and create your own kind of text to say that if you've gone with this color scheme, it relates to if it's X, it relates to Y. You can add your own text field into the custom reporting. So you can kind of do it, I would actually say, in the online one right now. But maybe that's
Yeah, I
something that
think
we could.
Yeah, I think one easy way would be to use notes basically because well notes are supported, so you can just add the instruction to the note as a picture, for example, if it has color legends, which mean whatever you want them to mean, and attach those to the components, for example, access points or whatnot, separate elements on the map, and have them part of a report. And I guess that's what you can do already today. Of course, we can do some specific functionality for that, but as of today, that would be the fastest, easiest way to do it.
Okay, cool. Troy, did you have any that you wanted to answer?
No, I was just reading through the chat, but there wasn't,
Oh,
I don't see a question that I think that we haven't already. Oh, one thing I wanted to comment on when Vlad was going through the demo of ultra wideband BLE designs, we've recently added that capability to the APs that support ultra wideband. And one of the side effects of that is that if you open up an existing project and you had 9178s that we're using to design, you will see a deprecated message beside that AP. And we are certainly not saying that the 9178 is deprecated. All that means is that that project didn't have the ultra wide band parameters defined for the AP, where AI Pro Online now supports that. So it's just a matter of updating that AP, replacing it with the 9178 that also includes ultra wideband capabilities. We're not saying that that AP is deprecated. So if you have old projects that you open up, you may see that message. So I just wanted to call that out.
uh, thank you, Troy. I saw a question in the chat asking about like the auto wall detection, and that the person that asked the question said that they usually lean on the side of err on the side of caution, that they put concrete walls on the exterior and then brick walls on the interior. That is there a way that we can kind of like define this in the process? So let me just show you with a quick demo. Let me just find a floor plan to use. Offices. Let's just go with this one. So, excuse me. I'm just going to import the Ekahau Helsinki floor plan into AI Pro Online, and then you let the AI auto wall detection run, and then show you like how you can accomplish how you can achieve that outcome that you was looking for. Vlad did kind of allude to that earlier, how you can do it. So, and what you can do is basically just let the wall detection run. And what it will do is it will assign multiple different, it doesn't just do one type of wall type to all of the walls. So it's going to do the exterior walls as brick, exterior glass, internal walls as dry walls, and it will also detect doors and draw doors for you as well. So you can see now that the wall detection has finished running. So I can place the walls now. And you can see all of these different walls have been drawn. So you've got internal drywall, exterior glass, and brick. We've got doors. You can like visualize it in 3D to make sure everything is looking kind of how you would like it to be. But if you then wanted to come in and then change all of the brick walls to concrete, if you open up your environment and select the brick walls here, you can then change that to be from brick wall to concrete. And then if you wanted to change all of the internal drywalls from being a 3DB drywall to brick wall, you can change it over here. And now, very quickly, all of these materials have now changed to be the ones that you asked for in the question. So you can use the AI auto wall detection to detect the walls for you, draw it, and then edit them very quickly later on as well. Okay, let me just come back. Any other one? I know that there's been a lot of questions in the Q&A, and I wish we could go on for forever here and answer all of these. So if you haven't already signed up for the Slack and the user voice, let me bring that back up because we have a lot of the Ekahau team in there in the Slack answering questions, and also you can give direct feature requests and feedback to the product team for features in the user voice as well. We will have another webinar coming up in a few weeks' time, and we can try and answer some more of your questions live there. I would love to stick around and just shoot the stuff with you all and answer all of your questions and show you exactly how to do all of the things that you're asking for. But we might need a few more hours to cover every single thing in the Q&A. So why don't we just do one final one? Dale or Troy, I'll let you pick, and then we can then close out for today. Or Vlad, if there's a feature there or something there you wanted to talk about or answer.
For another hour? Or
All right. I'll ask a quick question, and then again, maybe this has been addressed. Apologize if so. So you did highlight the wall detection capabilities when you import a floor plan for predictive design and planning. What about the ability to auto detect things such as cubicles, racks, and shelving and things like that?
Great
so we are
question.
we are adding things one by one. So basically, next, as you saw, there was elevators, and also stairs will be coming next. So that once we get the auto stairs functionality, we will be also detecting the staircases, and cubicles and objects like that is also something we are. Basically, it's a matter of annotating the floor maps. And as I mentioned, we are not using our customers' project to do that. That would be quite easy, just take customer projects and just feed them to AI. We are not doing that. And the reason for gradual implementation is that we need to annotate each object type, and it just takes time. So the training takes time. Otherwise, we are adding those elements all the time, basically.
Thanks, Vlad.
Okay, well, thank you all so much for sticking around with us for nearly half an hour over the allotted time for the webinar today. But you had so many great questions in the chat and the Q&A. Thank you for asking them, and Vlad for showing off some of the cool things that AI Pro Online can do and will be able to do in the near future. So yeah, thank you so much for sticking around, Dale, Troy, and Vlad. We will try and answer as many of your questions if you put them over on the Slack and into user voice as we can. And hopefully we'll see you all on the next webinar in a few weeks' time, where we're actually going to be starting a brand new webinar series on decoding Wi-Fi that we're very excited about, actually. So it's been great hanging out with you all for so long today, but I guess we're going to have to call it a day for today and see you on the next one.